Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome back into the podcast. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about league-winning wide receivers. I've got a pretty good list here. Some of these players might be on the waiver wire, some of them might not, but I'm going to be giving you a detailed breakdown on every single league-winning wide receiver that I have on this list and why I have them winning you your fantasy league. So I'm going to get right into it, guys, but real quick, if you have not already, go down and hit that subscribe button below. That's essential for me growing my channel so I can continue to give you content throughout the season and off season. And do give me that thumbs up if you enjoyed the content today. All right, guys, I am going to get right into my first league-winning wide receiver. This is a guy that's probably not on the waiver wire in any leagues, but if you have him, it's a really good spot to play him for the rest of the year, and that is Tyler Lockett. He ends the season with Chicago, Detroit, and Arizona. I don't think that the Seahawks obviously the Seahawks offense hasn't been as efficient as you've wanted it to be, but in games where both Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson are healthy, they've had a very good connection. He's getting double-digit targets in some games, and he's the type of big play wide receiver that doesn't even necessarily need double-digit targets to churn out awesome fantasy production. So I really like Tyler Lockett in this offense when both himself and Russell Wilson are healthy. He has a reasonably easy strength of schedule going forward for the rest of the season, and I think he's pretty much become the centerpiece of the offense. And so as long as him and Russell Wilson are both playing, I have this dude as a locked-in starter every single week for the rest of the year. You never are going to have this guy on your bench. He's a set-it-and-forget-it starter for the rest of the season as long as him and Russell Wilson are both healthy. Next on my list is going to be T. Higgins, also not going to be on the waiver wire in any leagues, but we've really seen this dude emerge as an awesome fantasy asset in the second half of the season. He finishes with Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cleveland. Baltimore has a relatively tough defense, but the fact of the matter is, whether Lamar Jackson is playing or not, they can put up a lot of points. So can the Bengals. It's probably going to be a shootout-style game where a lot of points are on the board. And you always want to start wide receivers that are in high-scoring matchups, because the more back and forth, the more high-scoring, the more of an aerial assault game it becomes, the more you want, that fantasy receiver that you're playing. So T. Higgins is really good for the rest of the season, especially this coming week. Three out of the last 4 weeks, he's had 100-yard receiving games. So this dude is really starting to become the receiver that we know he could be. He's a 6'4" alpha male stud wide receiver, and you want to play this guy every week for the rest of the season. Next on my list is going to be Antonio Brown, finishing with Carolina, the New York Jets, and Carolina again. It looks like Chris Godwin is out for the season with the torn ACL. Mike Evans is dealing with some injuries. Brown has been out for a couple months, but before that, we saw that he was a very good fit for this offense. And as long as Chris Godwin is out and Mike Evans and Antonio Brown are the two stud receivers for the team, the target share for Antonio Brown is going to be awesome. He's probably going to see a lot of games where he gets double-digit targets. We know that this is a very good and efficient offense because they are led by the GOAT, Tom Brady. Don't let this last week where they got shut out fool you. That means absolutely nothing. This is a great offense. And if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both hurt, Antonio Brown's going to have an absolute field day. But even if it's just him and Evans as the two wide receivers, because they're both playing and both healthy, he's still going to go off because we've seen it. This guy's a very good fit in the offense. And with no Chris Godwins, that means even more volume for Antonio Brown. So you can play him going forward with a whole lot of confidence as long as he comes back healthy from his ankle injury that he's been dealing with. Next on my list is going to be Marquette Valdez-Scantling, finishing with Cleveland, Minnesota, and Detroit. Marquette Valdez-Scantling has developed a very good downfield connection with Aaron Rodgers. He is probably in the waiver wire in a lot of leagues. So go scoop this guy up while you have the chance, guys. I think, he's really become the clear-cut number two receiver on the team. For a while there, I kind of thought Allen Lazard was the number two guy, and Aaron Rodgers does really like Allen Lazard, but he likes Marquette Valdez-Scantling better. Marquette Valdez-Scantling is getting a more consistent target share, and he's an awesome field-stretching wide receiver. He's got one of the best arm talent quarterbacks in all time in Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. So this awesome downfield connection between quarterback and wide receiver is one of the best in the NFL. And this is a guy that only needs 4 or 5 targets a game to produce awesome fantasy numbers. And he's seen double-digit target games a lot, at least a little bit in the past month. I mean, a few weeks ago he had 9 targets. He had 10 targets this last game or the game before that. I don't know, but his target share has been going up significantly. So I think they're really starting to favor Scantling in this offense. So as long as he comes back from COVID and is able to play, you want to start this guy probably at your flex flex every single week if you need wide receiver options, and go grab him off the waiver wire. Next on my list is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, finishing with Atlanta, Seattle, and Green Bay. Atlanta and Seattle are pretty easy matchups. Those teams give up a lot of points. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, ever since DeAndre Swift has been hurt, really has become the centerpiece of the offense. I mean, he's had a couple 90-yard receiving games in 2 out of his past 3 games. He's found the end zone a couple of times. He's gotten double-digit targets for 3 weeks in a row. So this dude is clearly become the centerpiece of the offense. He is receiving the most consistent target share out of any offensive player on the Detroit Lions. And although it's not a very good overall team, look, if you're getting double-digit targets every game, you are a very, very playable fantasy wide receiver. This dude is talented as well. So plug him into your lineup if you need wide receiver options. He's probably on the waiver wire still in a lot of leagues, so go grab him. Next on my list is going to be Henry Renfrow. Probably not on the waiver wire, but he finishes with Denver, Indianapolis, and the LA Chargers. Decently tough schedule, going forward for Hunter Renfrow. But look, 3 out of the past 4 games, this dude has had 100-yard receiving games. He has emerged as the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver in the offense. If you have Hunter Renfrow on your team, do not let this last week deter you from playing him. He is a set-it-and-forget-it starter for the rest of the entire season, and he is a league-winning wide receiver. Last receiver on my list is going to be Jalen Waddle, finishing with New Orleans, Tennessee, and New England. Boy, Jalen Waddle has a very tough schedule to finish out the season, and I'm normally recommending players that have good strength of schedules, but I wanted to include Jalen Waddle on this list because I need to stress the importance that you need to play this guy for the rest of the year, despite the fact that he has tough matchups. I mean, this dude has emerged as a very reliable wide receiver in the Dolphins offense. Him and Tua T have developed a good connection. And look, this dude converts his receptions at an extremely high clip. He's receiving double-digit targets almost every game and coming out with 8, 9, 10 receptions in these games. This dude is an absolute PPR machine. And despite the fact that he has a tough schedule, you need to play him as a set-it-and-forget-it starter for the rest of the year. He's good enough to be a mid-range wide receiver too. And if you have an extremely stacked team, he's probably by far the best option to play at your flex. So guys, I can't stress the importance of this enough. If you have Jalen Waddle on your team, you need to start him for the rest of the season despite the tough matchups. All right, guys, those are my league-winning wide receivers. I hope I helped clear up any lineup debates that you have, and I hope that some of these players that are on the waiver wire, you have time to go grab these guys and add them to your team because they are league-winning wide receivers, guys. I'm telling you. Anybody on this list, play them for the rest of the year unless, something crazy happens. And look, if anybody I listed on here is still on the waiver wire, you need to go grab them immediately because they are going to help you win your fantasy league. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning into the video, and I will catch you later.